You're watching White House officials touting the Trump administration's immigration crackdown as they get ready to mark 100 days since the president took office. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt says the president will sign 2 new executive orders on this issue. She also blamed President Biden for allowing immigrants to enter the country illegally and tied Biden's policies to violent crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. She touted Trump's policies, saying they have led to record low numbers of encounters at the southern border, saying the administration is working 24/7 to arrest and deport suspected criminals and gang members they call terrorists. The Trump administration's border czar Tom Homan also accused the Biden administration of unsecuring the border on purpose. He calls the administration's crackdown on immigration an unprecedented success, saying the numbers prove it. And Homan says the decrease in migrants making the journey to the U.S. means fewer people are dying along the way, fewer women are being sexually assaulted and trafficked, and fewer Americans are losing their lives to fentanyl brought across the border. Also, when asked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to circumvent judges and deport more migrants, Karoline Leavitt says the president is open to all legal and constitutional remedies. For more, let's bring in ABC News' Jay O'Brien. Jay, a lot to unpack here. So what's the latest on these 2 new executive orders the president's expected to sign today?
We don't know much about them. We know what Karoline Leavitt just said in the briefing moments ago. One is about, as she says, quote unquote, law and order. Another is cracking down on sanctuary cities, which are cities that limit cooperation with U.S. immigration enforcement to varying degrees when U.S. immigration enforcement goes to conduct deportations or other operations in those cities. You heard Tom Homan talk about it there to a degree, but it comes amid this broader constellation, and that was the point of this press conference, of deportation efforts, the kind that the president promised repeatedly on the campaign trail, Diane. And we have a new report card in new ABC polling of how Americans view these immigration enforcement actions that the White House was just touting there. And one takeaway is that it's a little bit split amongst the American people. I'll give you one number, for example. Overall, the president's got a 35% job approval rating versus a 57% disapproval rating. But when you go to deportations, those numbers get a lot thinner. It's 48% of those polled saying that they believe the president is going too far versus about 50% who's saying he's not going far enough or he's going just the right amount, Diane.
Now, this was a victory lap for the administration, Jay. Homan says we've gone from 15,000 illegal entries in a day down to 178 in the last 24 hours. What more can you tell us about the impact of the administration's immigration policies?
One of the things that we've seen, you heard Tom Homan address it there, and you mentioned it earlier as well, is that as the administration goes through those various deportation operations, which it continues to tout, they are also having to play defense in court, and they are getting pressure from some on the further right to try to circumvent those federal judges, some of whom are Trump appointees that have blocked those immigration actions from fully going into effect while broader court cases play out. And there was one further right reporter in the room who asked, as you noted, would the president consider suspending habeas corpus and constitutional protections in order to do that? What the White House said is that they will continue to comply with court orders. But what we've seen, Diane, is that in complying with court orders, they've somewhat tried to sidestep what these judges have ordered. For example, there's a judge ordering the Department of Homeland Security not to deport migrants to countries other than their country of origin without some kind of other processes in place. And what we saw recently was the administration have the Department of Defense do it to try to sidestep the fact that a judge had ordered the Department of Homeland Security not to.
All right, ABC's Jay O'Brien at the White House for us. Jay, thank you.